The following is a Learfield presentation of the Washington State Sports Network. This is the Cougar Basketball Hour on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield. Tonight's show is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is a proud supporter of Cougar athletics. Together, there's nothing as powerful as the power of us. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Tonight's show is also brought to you by Zappos, where the Palouse comes to play and eat. Now, live from Zappos, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Welcome into Zappos. It is the Cougar Basketball Hour. We've got the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley, here. We've got Case Wynot, who just walked in the door as well. One of our player guests tonight, Marcus Wilson, will be here in addition. It is our second to last episode of the Cougar Basketball Hour. Where does time go? Oh my gosh, it is the final week of the regular season. That means Senior Day coming up Thursday at Beasley Coliseum against San Diego. Then the regular season wraps up, the team on the road against Pepperdine, and then everyone heads down to Vegas for the conference tournament. Coach, here we are. It's light out. That's a great thing, and we have Marcus Wilson walking in right now as well. It is light out when you drive here. That means it's late in the hoop season. When you come, it's 6 o'clock, and there's still a little bit of daylight.
Yeah, that's a rarity, walking out of the office when there's still light outside.
Well, let's take a look back at last week. Those games, Gonzaga, the first one on Wednesday, ended up being an 84-63 loss. How do you look back on that matchup with the Bulldogs?
Oh, man, that was a tough game. You know, we started off with some fire, and it just seemed like maybe the adrenaline got a hold of us, and we lost a little bit of steam 7 minutes into that game. And their bench came in, and hats off to them. They played really well. You know, Huff and the other – I can't remember who the other one that hit a couple threes.
Hickman had a big game in that one.
Yeah, Hickman, their starters played well too, but they had a lot of points out the bench that came in that first half, and that kind of changed the game, and we weren't able to dig out of that hole.
And something we spoke about after the game, but I thought was notable, and we've got Case Wynot here, is the way those two freshmen, Tomas Throsserson and Case Wynot, played in the second half. I thought they provided a lot of spark, and they've done impressive things as freshmen, and I know the future is incredibly bright for both of them. No,
they were great. It was great to see the spark of life they brought. You know, Case came in. I think there was a two possessions in a row, got offensive rebounds, and playing more comfortable. You know, and that's what takes time as freshmen come along. And at this point, they start turning into sophomores because they got the experience under their belt, and you can see that kind of showing up.
Over 10,000 fans at Beasley on Wednesday. I know there's a special moment for every single home game when the national anthem is wrapping up, and it's the home of the Cougs. When that moment happened and you could hear the crowd and you looked around, what was that like, seeing Beasley as full as it was?
Oh man, it was amazing. You know, our guys really fed off it. When that dunk Lawan had early in the game, that place was. It was going crazy. It was really a fun atmosphere, and just excited for what we're building here and to see what kind of support we have.
And then that takes us to Saturday. The Cougs hosting Santa Clara, 109-79 the final there, a loss. And, I mean, the big story from that game was their otherworldly ability to knock down threes. They made 23 threes in that game. I mean, as you went back and watched that one on film, is it frustrating? Do you just shrug your shoulders and say you kind of ran into a buzzsaw? How do you look back on that?
It was a disappointing game. You know, I thought we've been practicing better, and we came in to that week, you know, hopeful to go get one of these big wins. And they came in and shot the lights out. They hit 11 threes in a row at one point. They were 11 for 12 to start the game off, and you know, 5 or 6 of those were heavily contested. And so that's tough, but we got to be able to control things a little bit better. There were some turnovers. There was 5 or 6 of those threes that we could have contested better. And then, you know, to beat a team like that, we got to make them a little more uncomfortable. And so I think we're learning. We got some guys that I think are figuring this out, and hopefully next time we get an opportunity like that and teams are comfortable, we figure out how to break that momentum.
And those could be opponents the Cougs play, and I'm trying to think here. Here we are on Tuesday, and then gosh, 2 weeks from now in this time frame, it will be down in Vegas for the conference tournament. And those two teams are actually playing tonight, so I know that'll be an interesting game that starts at 8 o'clock. So we get to that time of year where there's some games kind of spread out, and a game on Tuesday, some on Wednesday, Wednesday. The Cougs will be in action on Thursday. It'll be interesting to see those two teams play coming up. Again, we're here with the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley, on the Cougar Basketball Hour. Our guest tonight, we've got a couple of freshmen, Case Wynot and Marcus Wilson, going to stop by. We'll take a break here from Zeppos. More with the coach of the Cougs, David Riley. After this, it is the Cougar Basketball Hour from Learfield.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hey, Coug fans! Can't decide what to do with your late-night weekends? Why not Cosmic Bowling? Every Friday and Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. is Cosmic Bowling at Zeppos. At a price designed with everyone in mind, we are your destination for music, disco lights, and of course, bowling. Can't join us on the weekends? Zeppos is the place to be for all ages every day of the week. With bowling, food, and drink specials, we offer prices that won't break the budget. You can even reserve your lane in advance with online reservations at Zeppos.com. When looking for fun in Pullman, look no further than Zeppos.
Hey everybody, this is Klay Thompson, and you're listening to Washington State Basketball.
If you've been having your McDonald's sausage McMuffin with an iced coffee from somewhere else, now's a great time to reconsider.
In the Pacific Northwest, it's never too cold for an iced coffee in the morning. Grab yourself a medium caramel, French vanilla, or classic iced coffee for just $2.29. Warning, beverage may cause craving for McMuffin or hash browns. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Nothing works up an appetite like cheering for your Cougs on game day. So why not cheer them on at Northern Quest with an impressive roster of restaurants and lounges? You can tackle the menu at Epic and catch every play on the 10 by 30-foot screen. Or grab a steak at Maslow's, a fine cigar at Legends of Fire, even a burger from Fat Burger. You know, for your inner linebacker. See more at northernquest.com. Go Cougs!
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Up and under, off the glass, had to get the little spin on it, and he banks it in. 90 points for the Cougs. They're back up by 17.
Tonight's show is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is a proud supporter of Cougar athletics. Together, there's nothing as powerful as the power of us. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Once again, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Cougar Nation, each time you bring your Toyota vehicle to be serviced at a local and participating Toyota dealership, you can receive a premium Washington State giveaway item as a member of the Toyota Rewards Program. To join the program, visit WSUCougars.com/Toyota Rewards. Back at Zeppos on the Cougar Basketball Hour, here with the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley. Again, our player guests tonight. We've got Case Wynot and Marcus Wilson here. The final week of the regular season. Let's remind folks of those tip-off times. Thursday, it is Senior Day against the University of San Diego. It'll be a 6:30 tip-off. Our coverage will start a half hour prior here. And then Saturday, down to Malibu to take on Pepperdine in a game that will start at 7. And then after that, the conference tournament at the Orleans Arena in Vegas. That will run March 6th through March 11th. All kind of depends. It's the best way I can describe it is a flying V is the way that the bracket is set up. So very much the teams that do well in the regular season get the benefit of that in the WCC. So a lot still to shake out there, but we're back here with David Riley, and something, as we'll get into these guys that we'll have a chance to talk to coming up, but on Wednesday before the Gonzaga game, really cool event happened. The Champion Center grand opening took place, and for those who aren't familiar with that, it's located inside the physical education building. It's adjacent to Bowler, and it brings all the academic resources for student athletes, which includes advising, tutoring, meetings, study spaces, as well as professional development services and mental health counseling into one spot. How great of a resource is that for the team?
The place is incredible. Our guys spend a lot of time down there. I try to go down there once a day and just make sure, our guys are working hard down there, and you see them working with tutors and having their meetings with their academic advisors, and the support here is incredible. Our guys have done really well so far in school, and they're starting off the quarter decently strong. But I think just the support here, we're making sure we have people on them at all times, and they're getting their work done.
Have you heard feedback from the guys about it? Because, the ball is in their court academically, but it feels like what the university does and the athletic department does, there are the resources there to put everyone in a position to really succeed.
Yeah, and I can speak from experience having my guys at Eastern that came over here and are experiencing the same thing. Just kind of the level of focus. They're in more in-person classes here. It's a really really good school, and so our guys have been challenged, but then they have all the support, and it's allowed them to obviously get good grades and really work towards majors they want to get.
Well, our guest coming up here, Marcus Wilson, and we've got Case Wynot. We'll start with Marcus. It was so exciting to see him play in those first 4 games, and again, the team has had more than its fair share of tough injury luck, and Marcus certainly knows about that, suffering a season-ending injury. Let's start about where he was at the beginning of the year. What allowed him on a team with a lot of talent and a lot of depth at that point before it's been tested with injury issues to earn playing time as a true freshman?
Marcus is a true point guard. And so what he did on the floor, he was aggressive defensively. He kind of the head of the snake. He was able to disrupt teams defensively, and then offensively he was able to get to the paint and play under control, and really, really good passer. And that's something that our team didn't have, a true point guard like that wanted to come in and play that way. And so I think it gave us a different look. And so he'll be able to come back, and you'll see him better than ever.
And Marcus, a little bit of a more unique background recruiting-wise, because you take over. I know it's you're drinking from a fire hose, assembling the team, but he was someone who was committed under the previous staff that you got on the phone with, and hey, this is the place for me, and still stayed committed to WSU.
Yeah, I think a huge part of being successful is having guys that want to be here, and I think you develop faster if you're not looking at other places and thinking about other things. And so that's something that we want to build our culture on is people that want to develop here, they want to get better, and I think that kind of fits what we're looking for.
How tough of a blow was that, losing him? I know there's hindsight's 20/20 when you're looking back and woulda, coulda, shoulda of how it would be different, but that is a spot where having him would have made a big difference, right?
There's a lot of different ways. Like obviously defensively he would have helped us, and I think when you look at our numbers, we turn the ball over a lot, and it'd be nice to have another guy out there that can handle it. And I think there's a lot of ways. Just having more guys that can help us in practice and everything we do would have been nice.
Case Wynot, our other guest tonight. While we've been able to see him in action this year, he's also someone who's dealt with more than his fair share of some tough injury stretches. What has he been able to bring to the team as a freshman? And we've seen his impact as we talked about what he did in that Gonzaga game.
Yeah, you guys will see him right now. He's got some nice eye makeup on right now. He got popped in the face on late last week. So he's just a physical. He's a great player, and he's a great competitor, number one, and that's kind of why you've seen him banged up a little bit his freshman year. Just throws his body around, and what we haven't seen is how dynamic of an offensive player he is, and that's what kind of starts to come as a freshman. You get used to the speed of the game, you get used to all these intricacies that it takes to be good at the Division I level, and now that he's getting used to that, you'll start to see more of the scoring and the shooting that he can do. He
was someone you were very familiar with at Eastern Washington. I know you recruited him there. You get the job here, and just how things can change with coaching switches. He ends up reopening his commitment. And then what was that like, being able to get him to the Palouse here and have him part of the program?
It was another easy one. Like we know he wants to be here. We know he fits the system because we recruited him, and we know what kind of person he is. So that was one where we didn't have to really do much. I mean, when you got to recruit, we needed 12 new players last year, and so you got to do your research and do your homework on everyone, and it takes a long time. And so it was nice to have someone like Case that we really knew and have familiarity with, and knew he's our kind of guy. And so with that, like, you see his potential as a basketball player and as a competitor. That's where guys really develop, and you'll see that start to blossom.
We'll talk to him about his high school career, the all-time leading scorer in high school history in the state of Idaho. What he did at Lapwai High School, absolutely incredible. So we'll talk to him about that coming up. Coach, go enjoy some food here at Zeppo's. We'll let you loose. We'll have you back a little later on as we talk about those matchups for the team this week.
Go Cougs.
Again, that is David Riley, the coach of the Cougs, joining us here on the Cougar Basketball Hour. We will take a timeout. When we return, Marcus Wilson will join us here. All after this break, you are listening to the Cougar Basketball Hour from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you. Because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. From the versatile RAV4 to the svelte Crown, the sleek Camry all-wheel drive, the Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive, the rugged Tacoma, the tenacious Tundra, and the spacious Grand Highlander with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. Hey, you bring the action, we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories is a high-tech global company headquartered in Pullman, Washington, with a mission of making electric power safer, more reliable, and more economical. At SEL, employees enjoy working in a fast-paced, innovative environment while enjoying the many benefits of living on the Palouse. SEL is seeking engineers for paid internships and full-time positions. Apply to join the growing SEL team today at selinc.com/careers.
You're listening to Cougar Basketball on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hampton and Pullman is just a short drive from the WSU campus. They've got you covered for all your lodging and dining needs with the addition of their on-site bar and restaurant, Crimson Bar and Bites. You will feel right at home with their spacious rooms, famous Hampton waffles, cozy outdoor patios, Cougar gift shop, and the friendliest staff in town. Visit HamptonByHilton.com to reserve a room for your next trip to the Palouse. Coug owned and Coug managed. It matters where you stay. Hampton and Pullman. Hilton for the stay.
Are you interested in your company reaching Coug fans in and out of game day? As the multimedia rights holder for Washington State Athletics, Washington State Sports Properties helps companies and organizations connect themselves to Cougar Athletics in unique and exciting ways. From LED signs to pregame parties to the radio ad you're hearing right now, Washington State Sports Properties is helping companies both large and small get in front of Coug fans on a daily basis. Reach out to Washington State Sports Properties to learn more about what sponsoring the Cougs can look like for you.
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Behind the back dish, throw down, Cougar is done. What a dunk that brings the fans to their feet here at Beasley.
Tonight's show is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is a proud supporter of Cougar athletics. Together, there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Once again, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Back at Zeppo's on the Cougar Basketball Hour. This is our second to last edition of the season. We are talking about the final two games of the regular season. And next week, we'll be back here at Zeppo's this exact same time to preview the conference tournament, the WCC tournament held down at the Orleans Arena in Vegas. This week, the Cougs senior day on Thursday against San Diego. Regular season comes to a close Saturday on the road against Pepperdine. And we got a couple of Cougar Basketball Hour debuts tonight. A couple of freshmen joining us first. Marcus Wilson, freshman guard from Albuquerque. Marcus, it's great to have you here. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Well, boy, your season, you played those first 4 games of the year. We talked with Coach Riley about it. You come in as a true freshman. You earn a spot. You earn a role. You're getting minutes. I'm thinking back to the Idaho game. You had 6 points. You were 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. And then you have a season-ending shoulder injury. How's it been dealing with that adversity?
It's been a rough one, learning how to still be part of the team, knowing that I can't help on the court, but I can still bring energy to practice and helping out guys like Ethan and Lawan in case, giving them a point of view from the side and stuff and see what they can see.
And in your action in those 4 games, I was looking at it, 30 minutes, 0 turnovers. That's an impressive number, especially when you're having your first season of college basketball. How was it just getting that taste? And I know there's a lot more in front of you and the way it works, so you should, fingers crossed, get a medical red shirt so this year won't be held against you eligibility-wise. But how was that first taste of college basketball?
I was excited, just out there, just getting the chance to play Division I basketball, coming from a place where hardly anybody makes it. So just being out there was fun and really exciting for me. So.
Well, can you walk us through your recruiting journey? Because you are a Coug, but you were committed to be a Coug before it was this coaching staff. How did WSU get on your radar, and how did it all come together for you to say, hey, WSU's the place for me?
It was actually Kyle Smith. When we were at a tournament and grind session in Phoenix, he watched me play, offered me my sophomore year. And then I came out my sophomore summer to visit Pullman, and then right from there I knew it was a place I wanted to be. So I committed my junior year, and then just from there I just fell in love with the place, the community and stuff. Went to a couple of games, and I loved it, loved the atmosphere. So I knew I wanted to be a part of it.
You're from the Southwest, so Albuquerque's home, but you finished your high school career in Arizona. When you came here, you were on that visit, and it seemed like it was, hey, this fit like a glove. What were those things? Because it is, you look around, it is different than the Southwest here on the Palouse. What about it kind of spoke to you and said, this is the spot for me?
It was more like everyone here is like a community, so they want to see everyone succeed. And then coming back from the Southwest, where you have a lot of people that don't want you to succeed, and it's just a better place for me. So that's why I felt like Washington State was home.
So WSU, somewhere you committed to pretty early on, and then you're going to be going into the off season of, after your senior year of high school, and then the coaching change happens. That is a spot where, you could, look around and say, maybe this isn't the place for me. What made you ultimately decide, hey, new coaching staff, David Riley's coming in, WSU, that's still where I want to go?
It's just you have to hear them out and hear what they have to say. And then they blessed me with the opportunity, and they said that they want me here. So I was really excited to be a part of them, knowing that I had probably never spoke to none of them before until Coach Riley gave me a call and stuff like that. And then when I heard it, it was pretty exciting to see that they still wanted me here at WSU.
Is there something about, because, it's Isaiah Watts, the only returner who played last year, and Parker Garrett's, where you get to come in and everyone's going through a pretty shared experience, that you're all coming into a spot that's new for most of you with a couple of returners. How was that? Do you feel like it kind of gives you a chance to put your fingerprints on things in a place that you can be here for a number of years, and you, with how this year went with your injury, unfortunately, the bright side is there's 4 more years to go.
Yeah, they had a lot to do with me staying here too. I'm not going to lie. Parker and Zay reached out to me during the process of Coach Smith leaving and Coach Riley getting a new job and stuff. They told me just to keep positive and stuff. You never know. And then Zay told me, he said, you better come, so I had to.
Well, that's you can't turn him down. He's a pretty convincing guy. We mentioned Isaiah Watts, and we mentioned Parker Garrett's. I'm curious, in your spot, when you're competing before you get that injury, and now you're in this spot where you're trying to help the team every way you can, but you're not able to play. Who are the guys you've learned from most? Who are those guys that you've leaned on the team?
I leaned a lot on Sed, because me and Sed are going through this injury process together, so it's easy for me and him to have the conversation and stuff, we can go, we got it. And a little bit of Lawan too. Lawan's out there, he's been a big part of me telling me to be positive and stuff. And then Parker, me and his relationship is really good, so they'll just tell me keep positive, and then you'll be stronger next year.
Have you had injuries before in your basketball career? Is this kind of the first true tough situation you've gone through where you got to get that mindset of I've got to make lemonade out of the lemons that were handed to me?
No. My 7th grade year, basketball almost got taken away from me for life. So this is just a little bump in the road for me. So it's nothing it's major, but it's nothing too big where I can't overcome it. So
if you're uncomfortable, or if it's something you don't want to talk about, but what you say there, that certainly makes you wonder, was everything okay there in 7th grade?
Yeah, I just got really, really sick and stuff. So luckily I got blessed to be able to play again. So it got really, really sick.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm glad that things are going the way they are now, where you're here, and when you were healthy enough, when that shoulder was good, that you were making an impact as a true freshman for the Cougs. When it comes to life in the classroom, you're just a freshman, so I'm not trying to put too much pressure on you, but what are you studying? Do you have your major picked out, or is that still being decided?
It's still being decided.
Okay, that's fair. For as far as professionally, I mean, play hoops as long as you can?
Yep, that's the goal. Nothing else besides hoops. And so if that doesn't work out, then I'll figure something out.
Nothing wrong with that. And that you got a lot of time in front of you. Marcus, thanks for being here. Sorry you've had to go through the injury adversity, but I know you're going to come out stronger on the other end. And looking forward to what the future holds for you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Again, that is Marcus Wilson, freshman for the Cougar basketball team, joining us here at Zeppo's on the Cougar Basketball Hour. We will take another timeout. Again, a little later on, we'll be rejoined by the coach of the Cougs, David Riley, as we'll preview the final 2 games of the regular season. But up next, our theme will continue of visiting with freshmen. We will have Case Why Not be with us after this break. You are listening to the Cougar Basketball Hour from Learfield.
You know what I could really go for right now? Literally anything that comes in a McDonald's carton, wrapper, or bag. Or a McDonald's cup. Yes, any of those items should do it.
Or Cougar fans, why not get them all? Order with the app and get a bacon double cheeseburger, 4-piece chicken McNuggets, small fries, and soft drink for only $7. Offer valid exclusively in the McDonald's app. Must opt into rewards at participating restaurants.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Around here, the community is everything. At Adams Tractor, our strength is in machinery, but our passion is in building relationships. For nearly a century, Adams Tractor has been supporting local nonprofits and organizations all across the Northwest, demonstrating our commitment to the regions we serve. We're more than just your go-to Kubota dealer. We're dedicated to making life easier. Adams Tractor, where passion meets Kubota strength.
Hey, this is Craig Elo, and you're listening to Washington State Basketball. Go Cougs!
This Washington State University sports broadcast is brought to you in part by Pullman Regional Hospital, the official hospital of Washington State Athletics. The combined expertise of our university and our award-winning hospital are being deployed to provide greater access to resources, education, employment opportunities, and innovations to improve health care and health outcomes for all of us. Learn more at pullmanregional.org. Pullman Regional Hospital and Washington State, partners in excellence.
This Cougar Moment is sponsored by Brown Family Vineyards. Brown Family honors the legacy of founder Andrew Brown's late grandfather, William Bittner Brown. Every decision made, from farm to glass, reflects their commitment to premium Northwest wine and spirits. Whether you're visiting one of Brown's tasting rooms or opening a bottle in your own home, Andrew and his wife Courtney welcome you to their extended family, where good friends, good food and wine, and good times are always on the agenda. Stop by one of our tasting rooms in Spokane, Walla Walla, Seattle, Bellevue, Tacoma, or Portland, and get 20% off a glass this season when you mention WSU.
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Joe look, wraparound pass, two-handed throw down dunk, make it a 10-0 Cougar run.
Tonight's show is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is a proud supporter of Cougar athletics. Together, there's nothing as powerful as the power of us. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Once again, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. Back at Zeppo's on the Cougar Basketball Hour, and here we are joined. We've got our freshman duo as our player guest tonight. Case Why Not making his Cougar Basketball Hour debut. Case, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Coach Riley kind of gave us a little bit of a breakdown, and I can see that we know how hard you play when Coug fans have watched you out on the court, and how hard you play. You know, sometimes you're catching an elbow. Yeah. I can see the black eyes. What happened recently?
So we were just doing a little BC workout, Breakfast Club, and we were playing 3-on-3, and I just caught an elbow.
And do we know whose sharp elbow connected with your face?
It was either Reeve Avers or Andy Okafor, one or the other.
And no one has raised their hand to either take credit or to apologize?
Nah, they're going to the grave with that one.
Okay. All right. Well, but you're doing okay overall.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, goodness. And I know you've had, kind of some different injuries throughout the year, but you've been out on the court, and I just think back to that Gonzaga game. The energy, the shot in the arm that you brought to the team was very, very noticeable. That was not the first time that's happened this year. And as a true freshman, you're seeing, a good amount of playing time. You're at WSU, and your high school career, historic in the state of Idaho. We'll get to that here in a minute. But for you, originally you were recruited to Utah State. Yep. Danny Sprinkle, the coach there, he ultimately goes to UW. Yep. And then you end up being a Coug. How was your recruiting path that ultimately led you here to the Palouse?
Man, it was crazy. It was a crazy couple of days. And, David Riley at Eastern was my third Division I offer. And, so I already had a relationship with them. And, I think growing up, Wazoo was always the plan to come here to go to Pullman. Me and my dad always talked about it. And once David Riley got the job, I felt it was a no-brainer.
Well, so Wazoo was always the plan.
For sure.
That's interesting to hear, and I know that's something that warms the heart of Coug fans. Yep. What made it? Because you're from nearby. You went to Lapwai High School. Winchester is your hometown. Yep. But what about WSU that made it? Hey, this is the spot for me. This is the plan.
I feel like number one, just how close it was to home. First of all, and just how much the community supported the basketball program, and especially last year, coming to games, I feel like it was irreplaceable, and I wanted to be a part of it.
When there is a WSU home game, how many family and friends for Case Why Not are there at Beasley Coliseum?
There's a ton.
Give me, when we say ton, are we talking 30, 40, more than that?
I'm saying 20 to 30.
20 to 30. That is awesome to hear. And for you mentioned your dad. Your dad, Jeremiah, was an NAIA All-American at Lewis Clark State College back in the mid-'90s. So I'm assuming that he is someone who kind of instilled your love of basketball. Is that fair to say?
For sure. He put a ball in my hands for playing basketball for as long as I can remember from him.
And for you've thrived. I mean, when we say what a historic high school career Case had, at Lapwai High School, the all-time leading scorer in Idaho high school history, 2,962 points. The Idaho Gatorade Player of the Year last year averaged 36 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 9 assists per game. I mean, how were you able to do that? I mean, there's been a lot of players and a lot of outstanding players in the history of high school basketball in Idaho. How is it when we look at the record books that it's you number one in career points?
I would just say, I'm a Division I basketball player playing in the 1A ranks. That definitely helps. And just I feel like my coach just let me go. Just let me play.
That was a good decision, and it worked out pretty well. Lapwai High School, a really outstanding tradition there. What was it like to be able to kind of carry the torch and bring the program to outstanding heights?
I mean, it meant a lot, man. There's a lot of good players that actually came from Lapwai, and I just feel like I wanted to lead that torch and keep it going. Keep the tradition going.
One of those guys, Titus Yearout, who plays at the University of Idaho. I know he's a good friend of yours. What was it like for the Battle of the Palouse this year, going up against your good buddy, who was your teammate?
Man, it was cool. I don't think we both didn't touch the court that game, but I just felt like it was a big time for the community of Lapwai to both see us out there.
That's cool. And we got some more Battle of the Palouses to come. Titus, he's got eligibility in front of him, and you're just a true freshman, so more time there. Just kind of one more thought on your high school career. You said a single-game state scoring record with 68 points in a game. We're getting close to Wilt Chamberlain territory with that. What are your memories when you dropped 68 in a high school game?
I just remember we had a few guys out. So I was my teammates wanted me to go for it, and I want to shout out a guy named Chris Bonney. He gave me, he had 14 assists to me in that game.
Wow, that is incredible. That is, you guys were all stuff in the stat sheet in that game. For you, going to the Division I level, how has that adjustment been? What has it been like stepping up and as a true freshman playing?
Man, it's been a big difference because in high school I was always the biggest, fastest on the court, and that's just not the case anymore. And I just have to. Attention to detail is a lot more important than just for sure. I'm not bigger than everyone anymore, so skill is more important for sure.
I would think the competitor in you, though, that kind of fuels the fire even more. It's another big jump level-wise, but to be able to compete with the competition you're going up against, that's got to be great.
Yeah, for sure. I just love competing to win, and I feel like that makes me better as a basketball player, my competitiveness.
Here with Case Wynot on the Cougar Basketball Hour, talking to the Cougar freshmen, and Coach Riley, I asked him to describe, anything good to ask Case about. He said he lives in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if is that a fair description?
Very fair description. We have like elk and deer in our backyard all the time.
Okay, and you were kind of telling me before that for folks, if you've driven from the Palouse down to Boise, that if you get past Lapway a little bit, then that's kind of getting close to where your home is?
Yep.
And he also mentioned that you like hunting. You talk about hunting. The elk and the deer. So what, on a perfect hunting day for you, what does that look like for Case Wynot?
I'd say going out with Titus and Elias, you're out. Going out there and just going out in the woods and finding something to hunt.
What are we hunting with?
What are we hunting with?
Yeah.
Guns.
Okay. I'm just saying, okay. So what are we going after?
Elk for the most part.
Elk for the most part. In your best year. What's how many elk are you coming back with?
I'm only coming back with one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So how was this year?
It was good. I got one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And how did the year outs do?
I don't really know.
It wasn't.
I don't know too much about like what they got, but when they were with me, I got one.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. For you, when it comes to the classroom, you're a freshman. We said this to Marcus, so there's a lot you're wrapping your arms around in year one.
Yeah.
What are you studying? How's year one in the classroom?
It's going pretty good. I've gotten a lot better since I first got here, but I'm a sports management major right now.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go. And I'm assuming, same as Marcus, the plan is basketball for the foreseeable future. If there's ever something you can envision yourself doing that's not playing basketball, what would that be?
Coaching.
Coaching.
Yep.
There we go. What level?
High as I can go. College for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's awesome. And, Case, it's been really fun to see you in a Cougar uniform, and I know the future, just like you and Marcus, it is incredibly bright. So don't catch any more stray elbows between now and the next game on Thursday. Thanks for being here tonight, and just looking forward to what the future, the near future, and the future years in a Cougar uniform have and hold for you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Again, that is Case Wynot, freshman for the Cougs, joining us here at Zeppo's on the Cougar Basketball Hour. A reminder, the Junior Cougs Kids Club, it is presented by Toyota. It is the official kids club of the Washington State Cougars, and it is the best way for the youngest members of Cougar Nation to show off their Cougar pride. Find out more information about your Junior Cougs membership perks at wsucougars.com/JRCougs. When we come back, we'll talk about the final week of the regular season with David Riley. A reminder what that looks like for the Cougs. It is senior day on Thursday. Washington State hosting San Diego. Tip-off at 6:30. Our coverage will start a half hour prior. That final regular season game on Saturday down in Malibu against Pepperdine. Senior day. We'll talk about this with Coach Riley. Those three seniors, Cedric Coward, Ethan Price, and Dane Erickstrup, set to be honored. More with Coach Riley after this break. You're listening to the Cougar Basketball Hour from Learfield.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
The next time you visit Northern Quest, we suggest bringing your sea legs and your lead foot. It's the $100,000 Ben's Voyage giveaway. Play daily with your Canvas Rewards card, and you could win a cruise line adventure. Or a brand new Mercedes GLC 300 with an inline 4 turbo. Tax and licensing included. Speeding tickets are on you, though. The Ben's Voyage giveaway. Grand prize drawing March 31st. Details at northernquest.com.
This is Cougar Basketball from Learfield.
Get your home turf ready to play with the game-changing performance of Steel. Enjoy big savings this fall on Steel handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at over 10,000 local Steel dealers. Steel is a proud supporter of your Washington State Cougars. Real Steel. Find yours.
Get game day ready at Rosars. Rosars is a proud sponsor of WSU Athletics and your headquarters for keeping snacks stocked up for game time. You'll find the largest craft beer selection, local and imported wines, and all the makings for your favorite cocktails. And while you're there, stock up on your favorite deli snacks, pizza, rotisserie chickens, and ribs. Don't just watch the game, experience it with your favorite game time foods. Get game day ready at Rosars.
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Up and under, off the glass, had to get the little spin on it, and he banks it in. 90 points for the Cougs. They're back up by 17.
Tonight's show is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is a proud supporter of Cougar athletics. Together, there's nothing as powerful as the power of us. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Once again, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
It is the Cougar Basketball Hour, back with you from Zappos, our second to last show of the season, as we are rejoined by the coach of the Cougs, David Riley. And I'm thinking about it. It's our second to last show of the season. We do all the Cougar Basketball Hours. Monday nights, they do such a great job. Cammie Etheridge, the Cougar Basketball Hour, focusing on the women's program. And we get things started. It was back, I want to say August 29th was our first Cougar Football Hour of the season. And those first two shows, we were out on the patio here at Zappos. You want to go outside next week to wrap things up? We'll cap it off. We'll bookend it.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Okay, that's fair. As we look ahead, it is Senior Day against San Diego on Thursday. Those seniors going to be honored: Ethan Price, Dane Erickstrup, and Cedric Coward. I know those guys are near and dear to your heart. Those are guys that came with you from Eastern Washington here. As a coach and as someone who has spent countless hours with those three guys, what's it going to be like honoring them for Senior Day?
Man, it's gonna be emotional. You know, those guys have poured a lot into Washington State, and really their careers playing for me. And it'll be an emotional night. I'm excited to see Dane and Ethan get to go show it on the court, and just for everyone to be able to see their family and have them be honored will be a special night.
And for Cedric, it's a little more unique for him because he got injured earlier in the year, but someone who it was so much fun to talk to him on the Cougar Basketball Hour. And, we know he's got a bright future in front of him, and just how the way things shake out, we'll see moving forward because he is a senior, but when he got injured, the door would be open for a red shirt.
Yeah, we'll see how the spring goes and with the injury and where the NBA looks at him, and then that door definitely is open for his senior year here.
And he is our best guest by far as NBA trivia knowledge that we have had this year. Ethan Price, Dane Erickstrup, Cedric Coward. Did you just think about when you first met those guys? I remember we had a conversation at the start of the year where you talked about how both Ethan and Dane kind of transformed their bodies. And you think about what those guys were like just as people, as basketball players when you first met them to where they are now. You're kind of like a proud parent a little bit seeing all their progress?
Yeah, that's what makes college basketball special. They're high-level athletes. We're playing at an amazing league and an amazing level. But you get to see these guys develop from the time they're 18 years old, 19 years old in Ethan's case, to when they're grown-ups. And they've come a long way as players, as people. They've matured. And it'll be kind of cool to see that all come to fruition here in a couple days.
Something we've spoken about on the show before, but I think it's worth repeating, especially when we had the conversation about the Champion Center back in our second segment, is what Dane has done in the classroom. I know when we were talking finals time, he had a very full plate, but for folks who aren't familiar with what he has done academically, can you fill them in on what he is pursuing and just how successful he's been in the classroom?
Yeah, I don't know if he got straight A's. He might have had an A- or something last semester, but he's doing data analytics. He's got, he's learning every computer science language there is. I feel like every semester he's telling me he's learning 2 more, and just really getting the most out of his college experience as far as taking advantage of his degree. He'll still have another I think it'll end up being 2 semesters that he's got to take to finish this degree up, and because it's a real, there's a lot he's got to learn, and for him to do that along with play at the level he is, and really, achieve what he's achieving, he's had to sacrifice his social life, and pretty cool to see someone that's willing to do that and pour his heart into this team and also get his degree like this.
Pretty incredible, because being a Division I basketball player gives you more than enough on your schedule, and getting your computer science degree gives you more than enough on your schedule, and combining those, I mean, that is pretty impressive time management that it takes to pull that off. So the game itself, San Diego the opponent, round 2 with the Toreros. I think back to that first game, it was a really tight one down in San Diego. The Cougs rallied late to get that victory. What's it going to take to send those seniors off with a win coming up on Thursday?
We're going to have to play aggressive and make sure we take care of the ball. I think defensively we got to be able to compete and hold these guys to a low number. And then offensively they really pressure the ball well, and they turn us over down to their place. And what makes this game huge is we've had obviously a tough month, and we haven't finished like we've wanted to, but for us to go win these 2 games, one at home, one on the road versus Pepperdine and San Diego, we're able to secure a double bye probably, and finish in a really good spot where you got to go, have a real chance in winning in Vegas.
And that is for folks who are, and we're at the point of the season that you're watching the scoreboard, you're watching the standings, the Cougs, to get that double bye, you'd need to get the 6th spot, and the thing to root for would be obviously number 1 for the Cougs to win both games coming up Thursday, Senior Day against San Diego, and then Saturday against Pepperdine. And that other outcome to really keep an eye on, the Cougs are going to be St. Mary's fans, because St. Mary's taking on LMU, and LMU, that team that the Cougs are hoping to edge out for that double bye the coach was referring to. So just as everyone's scoreboard watching to see how the dust settles when it comes to what that bracket will look like for the WCC tournament, that's something to keep in mind there. And also just thinking back to that San Diego game, I mean, Nate Calmes really took over. That might have been as impactful as one person has had in a couple of minutes of action. Maybe it's in the conversation with some other, but boy, that was Nate kind of taking the bull by the horns late to beat San Diego, just thinking back to that first matchup.
Yeah, we had a really out of rhythm first half. We got up like 17, 18-2, and they really started disrupting us, and we couldn't get any rhythm offensively, and it was one of those games where we weren't able to pass the ball well around the perimeter, and able to get some dribble penetration to alleviate some of that pressure, and Nate realized that and got to the rim and kind of took over that second half.
Next game, which is the final game of the regular season, that will be Saturday night in Malibu against Pepperdine. It feels like, just yesterday it was that tight 1-point win over the Waves, and that was back on February 8th, so it'll be a pretty tight window between the 2 meetings, very late in the season to play them both times. I know San Diego is the focus. That is on Thursday, but when you just think about what happened in the first game against Pepperdine and playing them again, what's kind of running through your mind?
They had a really good offensive game against us. We got to make sure we disrupt them a little better. We got to guard the flex, and we got to guard Odom in some ball screens. And I think that's a game that it'll be interesting to see, because I thought that was kind of a low point of right at the end of a low point in our season. And I think we've turned a corner here, and I'm excited to see how much we've improved since then.
So those are the 2 matchups this week. Thursday, Senior Day against San Diego, 6:30 tip-off. Saturday on the road against Pepperdine. And after that game Saturday, we'll get clarity on what that bracket will look like for the WCC tournament and when exactly the Cougs will be playing down at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. We'll take another break on the Cougar Basketball Hour. More with the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley, after this. You're tuned in to the Cougar Basketball Hour from Learfield.
If you've been having your McDonald's sausage McMuffin with an iced coffee from somewhere else, now is a great time to reconsider.
In the Pacific Northwest, it's never too cold for an iced coffee in the morning. Grab yourself a medium caramel, French vanilla, or classic iced coffee for just $2.29. Warning, beverage may cause craving for McMuffin or hash browns. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024 U.S. Bank.
You're listening to Cougar Basketball on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you. Because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. From the versatile RAV4 to the Svelte Crown, the sleek Camry all-wheel drive, the Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive, the rugged Tacoma, the tenacious Tundra, and the spacious Grand Highlander with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. Hey, you bring the action, we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Hey, Coug fans! Can't decide what to do with your late-night weekends? Why not Cosmic Bowling? Every Friday and Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. is Cosmic Bowling at Zeppo's. At a price designed with everyone in mind, we are your destination for music, disco lights, and of course, bowling. Can't join us on the weekends? Zeppo's is the place to be for all ages every day of the week. With bowling, food, and drink specials, we offer prices that won't break the budget. You can even reserve your lane in advance with online reservations at Zeppos.com. When looking for fun in Pullman, look no further than Zeppo's.
Welcome back to the show. Time now to look ahead at this week's game with the Coors Light Opponent Preview. Coors Light. Choose chill. Proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly.
Back at Zappos on the Cougar Basketball Hour with the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley, our second to last edition of the Cougar Basketball Hour of the season. It is the final week of the regular season. Senior Day is on Thursday. And, Coach, that takes us to one of our audience questions. Jennifer Delzer on social media reaching out. A good one here. Besides the obvious one of win games, what are some of your major goals for the next couple of weeks?
That's a good question. She's right. Number one, we got to go attack these games and win the games. But we just talked about it as a team actually today. We feel that we kind of hang our hat on the fact that we're going to compete and be a competitive team, and then that we're going to play for each other, be a selfless team. And I think that's something we did a great job of early, and we kind of got away from that. And so I really want to see our team embody those two things these next couple weeks. Is we're going to outcompete teams, we're going to fight, we're going to fly around, whatever that looks like, and then we're going to play for each other a little bit more and try to move the ball and be a little more connected defensively. And I think those two things are kind of our big goals.
We'll be back here next week to preview the conference tournament. At that point, the bracket will be set. We could talk about the opponent. We can talk about, the uniqueness of the bracket. We can really dive into that coming up next week. But for conference tournaments, how much is momentum a real thing? Because everyone wants to have momentum going into a conference tournament. We see teams all the time catch fire and run through conference tournaments and see that momentum really build. How big is this final week to try to get that momentum?
I think it's really big to be playing your best basketball, and you want to be peaking down the stretch, and that doesn't necessarily mean you want to peak on Thursday or Saturday, but you want to be trending in that upward direction so you can be peaking during the tournament. And I've been a part of teams where we haven't played well down the stretch and we haven't had good tournaments. And then I've been a part of teams where, we pressed the right buttons and just went on a tear the last 5 or 6 games and went out winning. So I think it's a really important week for us to really feel that and understand that we're getting better and moving in that direction.
I'm thinking back December 21st, the Cougs were at the site of the conference tournament, the Orleans Arena, had a good game against Northern Iowa, beat a quality Northern Iowa team out of the Missouri Valley Conference in that neutral site game. It seemed like a great decision to kind of get the taste of that, and the team really played well. As you look back on that, how helpful is that, it's the final week of the regular season now, but you're going to a spot where the Cougs have played before, and they've been on the court playing at that venue this year?
That's why we did it. We wanted to schedule a game out there, get used to the building. None of us had played there. So I think that was big, and when you go look at that game, that's probably the game where we competed at our best. We were flying around, we were talking, and we were really playing for each other. And so I think that bodes well for us going down the stretch.
Yeah, year one here, and I'm thinking about, there's a bright future for this program. Everyone's focused on what's going on right now, but a bright future. What's the offseason going to look like? And we're not there yet. We're focusing on the end of the regular season and the conference tournament. But I know last year at this time, you weren't wearing crimson and gray. It was, you had a whole different set of priorities and things you were focusing on. What does the offseason look like as you're going to be gearing up for year 2 leading the program?
Well, the last 4 or 5 years, college basketball off seasons have really changed. That's for sure. And so, number one for us is to figure out what we got coming back and what that looks like and what the plan is for each of them to develop this off season, and then we've got to make a plan from there. Whether that's getting a little bit older in some positions, getting a little more depth in some positions. I think there's a lot to do, but number one, we got to figure out what we have coming back and make sure that's a priority on having that retention, because I think when guys play at this system, when they play in Pullman, they're focused. They're focused on their development, and it takes more than just one season to really see that growth. And so I'm expecting big off seasons for our guys, and that's kind of our priority.
When you talk about getting older, there will be the 3 seniors that get honored in this game, and back in the day, 5+ years ago, it would be great. There's only 3 seniors, and now there's just unknown for every program across college basketball. How is that in a year where, some years they're really heavy as far as how many guys you're honoring on senior day? This year, that's a smaller number compared to some years on the number of seniors.
I mean, that's the world we live in. And I've only been a head coach in this environment. And so all my years, this is the least I've had was this year. Obviously, coming into Washington State, we had 2 Washington State guys. But I've always had 6 guys that returned. And when you return, that means you have a plan to come in and contribute. And I think that's a lot compared to what most teams have experienced. And so we'll see what that looks like.
You say how you've only been a head coach in this environment. Does that you feel like you've had to be adaptable? I mean, every coach in some way has had to adapt, but you have to be adaptable, right? That's the nature of college basketball these days.
It's different every year, so we'll wait and see and go attack it when we can.
Great thing is there's more games to come. Senior Day on Thursday. Looking forward to it. Coach, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next before that matchup Thursday with San Diego.
Go Cougs.
Not only a big thanks to David Riley, but to our guest tonight, Marcus Wilson and Case Why Not, here from Zeppos. On the video side, Jared Pringruber. On the audio side, Jerry Kylo. For Luke Hallett back in the U.S. Bank Network studios, I'm Chris King signing off from Zeppos. You've been tuned in to the Cougar Basketball Hour from Learfield.